Hey all, welcome to Parker's Reefs. In today's episode I'm going to take you through 3 products that I told myself I would never do again, and that's to put unnecessary magnets in my tank. Alright, so 2, maybe 3 years ago, everything in my reefing life was an absolute dream. My tanks were on autopilot. The colors were off the chart. Everything was just on autopilot, just cranking along. Growth was crazy, color was crazy, everything was awesome. And then all of a sudden, overnight, my frag tank, which had thousands and thousands of dollars worth of some really, really nice corals, and more frustratingly, a bunch of corals that my friends had loaned me to hang on to as a backup for them, crashed. I was devastated. I couldn't work out what had happened. I'd even contemplated the thought that maybe someone had even poisoned my tank, because it went from being perfect one day to absolutely crash the next day. I couldn't work out what was going on. And then I came across this. This little magnetic frag rack had been hiding in the corner of the tank, and the magnets, I'll come in close here, absolutely let go. And ironically, the tank was obviously able to handle this for some time, because this is not something that just happens overnight, although possibly what had happened is the magnet had swelled out enough, and then finally it had broke the plastic casing, and all the little iron filings and bits just went everywhere. And that's what at this stage, I'm putting down to that tank crashing. Since that day, I've not liked putting magnets in my tank at all. Any magnet that does not have a very, very specific purpose that I couldn't do with something else, either just dangle something in there or use a suction cup, got a really concerned look from me. So when the team at Rack City got in touch with me and said, hey, we've got some magnetic products we want you to have a look at and review, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll test your magnetic products. And I gave them a forewarning that I would not do a quick review on these products. It needed to be in my tank for a minimum of 6 months. And as it turns out, I actually forgot about them for a little while. We've been 8.5 months now that they've been in my tank, and I'm happy to report that unlike this cheap magnetic frag rack, they've worked an absolute treat. So they've got a whole range of products. I've got 3 that I want to walk you through today, because I find them to be something that, one thing that's lacking in the Australian market, one thing that everyone's probably fairly familiar with, and that's a magnetic frag rack, and the third one's something completely left field that is a pretty simple idea, but is really cool in the same hand. So without further ado, let's get into these 3 products from Rack City. All right, the first product I've got, and I've seen these in America quite a bit, but not in Australia, and that is a magnetic heater holder. This little device has been absolutely incredible. I run this in my clownfish tank, which does not have a sump, and it has wave boxes in there. So it has this really big tidal swell going back and forth like that without a sump. Normally when I put heaters in there, even if they have suction cups, give it a day, the suction cups let go, and then I've got this heater swinging in the breeze, often banging against the side of the tank, which is obviously not good for glass heaters or really for the side of the tank. I'd tried doing all sorts of things. I'd secured the power cord of the heater into various places, and then Rack City sent me this, the magnetic heater holder, which is so cool. It's just a little magnetic thing. Actually, bear with me a second, I forgot the magnet. All right, blooper 1 of the video, but now I've got the magnet. So this is a magnetic heater rack. Ooh, the magnet's quite strong. I'll put it on that way so I can take it off again. Obviously the magnet will normally go down. And what that does is you can put that anywhere in there. If you've got it all in one tank and you're trying to get a heater in a fairly obscure spot, or it's in high flow and you don't want it to thrash about in the water, or like my clown harem tank and you've got no sump and you've got quite a lot of flow in there and you don't want the heater swinging in here making your fish, what's the word when they get, oh my God. Hypnotized, that's the word I'm after, when your fish get hypnotized. So this beautiful little heater holder's got these silicone rings in there that actually hold your heater really nice and snug. You can see it just sits in there like that, and you can then attach that to the side of your tank wherever you want. You can have it sideways, upside down even if I guess you wanted to, but normally either vertically or sideways. You can put 2 heaters in here. It's got quite a lot of room if your heater's a bit thicker, if it's a bit thinner. This one is an Aquil heater, which is quite thin, and you can see that's why it's fitting into those holders quite easily. But it's an absolute winner, and I'll get some close-up picture of this, this product for you. I've seen quite a few heater holders in the market, but not a lot of magnetic ones and none with the silicon holders in Australia. So if you're chasing something like this, it's obviously a fairly niche use product, but I've seen on the forums a few people asking about them and I've been chomping at the bit to say get in touch with Rack City, but again, I had to stay true to my form and say that I was not going to mention anything until I tested this for 6 months. When you see some close-up footage of this product, you'll see that despite my efforts to clean it, it's quite dirty, and that's because it has been in my clown tank for 6 months. And I'm happy to say that the magnets have not swollen, they look brand new. Happy days. Normally the problem with frag racks, particularly if you get the suction cup ones, is when you're cleaning the glass and you have to sort of go as close around it as you can. And if you bump it, sometimes the suction cups will let go and it'll fall. The advantage of a magnetic frag rack is you simply slide it up, slide it down, slide it to the side, wherever you need, and then you can clean that glass. And then slide it back down again. You can tell by the amount of detritus and algae growing on the rack itself there, how long I've been testing this unit. I haven't taken it out since the day I got it. I put it in this tank and I have not taken it out to clean it. The surface itself is kept pretty clean. It's just down in here where it kind of traps in the detritus. It's got a little bit there, but the magnet's nice and strong. All right, now that I very conveniently removed the magnet so we could have a closer look at this unit, you can see here I gave the magnet a bit of a clean and it is as good as the day it went in. Fantastic, no problems there at all. It still gets algae growing on it obviously, but there is no problems there. I'm going to get this back in the tank and pick up all my frags down here that I dropped, because one's sitting right in the recordia, which it ain't going to like too much. So bear with me 1 second while I pick that up. All right, there we go. Everything back to normal. I've managed to get the frag rack with the magnet back on, popped all my frags on. You can see it's holding the weight of those frags, no problem at all. You must leave the magnet on. That is how these things work. Don't mind me just having a little bit of a sleepy moment. All right, the next little product I want to show you is Unicorn Glitter Luck. No, just kidding, that's one of my daughter's games. It's actually this little device up here, which is this super cute little anemone pen. It's magnetic, of course, coming from Rack City. And what it does is it allows me to, when my beautiful rose bubble tips take or have a natural split, I just remove the little split and I put it in this box here. It allows the baby or the pup to sit in the same water that it's used to, that it's come from. And I find that gives a much better success rate for settling in and getting, you see that one's got his foot attached, so he's coming along really well. It saves removing it from the tank, and they're just a great little nifty thing. You can see they're, as I said, magnetic, but they've just got some grooves cut in the top there just to let the water flow through. But you can sit those rim just above the water's height, and that way the nem can't get out. All right guys, there you have it. 3 pretty cool products from the team at Rack City. They are based in Sydney, Australia. You can see them on their Facebook page. Just do a search for Rack City. I'd probably avoid doing a Google search for Rack City. It might get you in a bit of trouble. But if you search on Facebook, you should be pretty safe. Maybe even chuck in the word aquariums there. I'll be sure to put a link in the comments section down below. I'm super happy. I absolutely love the really simple anemone box. That just ticks my boxes really, really well. Mind the pun there. Basically, it's that soft coral tank, whilst the anemones look a little bit sad in there at the moment, that's because I literally just plucked that pup out, and whenever I put my hands in that tank, they all shrink and have a sulk for a few days. But it's given me really good success rate on propagating those frosted rose bubble tips, because it allows the pups to stay in the same water, and it also lets me control them so they don't get their foot stuck into the rock where I have to then try and peel them out. The heater holder has been an absolute godsend in my clownfish harem tank, because I don't know how long. It was going to be a question of when, not if, a heater shattered in there, if it kept banging against the side of the glass, and that would have been a really bad outcome for that tank. And finally, the magnetic frag rack frag rack, as you can see in the video, despite me pulling the magnet off and it falling all the way down to the ground. If you leave the magnet on there, it gives you such flexibility in being able to move your frag rack around so you can clean the glass and then move it back into position. Or even if you've just changed your pumps or lights and you want to move the corals into a slightly higher light or lower light, or in more flow, less flow, whatever it may be, super easy, super nifty, and most importantly, super safe. These magnets have held on for 8.5 months now, still looking brand new. I honestly would not recommend a product if I had not given it, a magnetic product, if I had not given it a thorough testing. And I'm confident to say that the Rack City approach of sealing their magnets gets the thumbs up from me. So that's all I've got time for today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions for myself or the team from Rack City, feel free to pop it in the comment section down below. And as always, if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. It costs no money, takes 2 seconds of your time, and it goes a long way to helping me out on this YouTube venture. Till next time, guys, stay safe and keep reefing. Cheers. Bye.